What's up, everyone? I know we're a few minutes late, but we are live for the latest episode of Spin from the Reel. And once again, I am Matt with my co-host, the one and the only personality himself, the Chris Anthony Lopez.
You're damn right. The personality, the Chris Anthony Lopez. That's what I got going on here. Matt, it's been a long week. As the tournaments start to wind down, I remember when we first started, at least doing the show weekly, right? We were constantly pumping out shows with a crap ton of news. We feel like there's something new every single day that come out, and the Schmodown was nonstop. But now that we're winding down towards the end of the season, there isn't a bunch of stuff going on. Luckily, we do have a lot of matches to preview for today because there are some that are not all accessible to those of us who are not patrons. If you aren't a patron, I highly recommend it. It's totally worth it. But this show, it's a lot of anticipation and maybe some dread, some potential dread, and maybe some future remorse. But we'll talk about that when the time comes. But before we start talking Schmodown, Matt, I actually wanted to say something.
What's that?
So to everyone watching, first of all, thank you so much for everyone that does watch the show. We really do appreciate it. Whether you're coming from the Facebook group, whether you're coming from our own personal Facebook page, whether you're coming from the Schmodown subreddit, hi subreddit. Last week on the show, for those who did get to check that out, Matt and I were obviously here, but we started the show off and it was a little heated. It was a little bit heated. It was a little intense. It was probably the most upset I've been on any Who Are They program, and it was pretty intense. The first half hour of the show is dedicated to one discussion, and it wasn't even a discussion. But I did want to say to you, Matt, now in front of us, obviously here, and to everyone watching, that I am still pissed off at you. Don't get it twisted. Don't try to think that like what you said was okay. You're representing the show. Like you represent Spin from the Reel, the Schmodown reaction show every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. You represent us, right? And your disrespectful comments towards other competitors hurt me in the process. Not only do my feelings get hurt, but the shows, man. So I just want you to know, going forward, I don't want to discuss what we talked about last week. I've said my piece, but just going forward, think about like, is this going to be disrespectful? Because odds are it will be disrespectful.
I wasn't trying to be disrespectful.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying that everything you said was disrespectful. But there were some things I'm like, Matt, you need to calm yourself. You need to cool it, bro. You need to cool it. But I digress. That was last week. Last week was last week. That was a jam-packed show. We have a ton to talk about. But down this week, I'm not as upset. I still am. So we got some Schmodown, baby.
We got some Schmodown, and I'm real excited. We had a great match last week. We only got one last week. It was weird because we got so spoiled from all tournaments and whatnot. At one point we were getting one that felt like every day, and it's just like, oh my god, this is great. And now it's just, hey, here's one. Hey.
Yeah, and that's what and that's the crazy thing about this whole pandemic version of the Schmodown, right? Like you mentioned, the singles tournament, which was the largest thing the Schmodown's ever produced. It was intense because every day we were getting a match for like a stretch of weeks. Yeah. At least they took a day off, but damn, did they make those days worth it. Excuse me. So now that we're getting into the back end of the season, as I mentioned, the matches are winding down. Now we're focusing on the teams tournament, and that's the match that Matt is alluding to, the play-in match that kicked off this tournament. But that was the only match we got. I mean, it sucks, but if I'm being honest, that match that we got last week, it exceeded all expectation, and it was one hell of a play-in match. Oh my god!
I was shocked in the good way.
Yeah.
It seemed like Perry had that same magic that she had against Mike Kalinowski.
Essentially, yeah, and it extended to Haley Fouch. Like the team of the Witching Power. Like we were talking about it when we first previewed the tournament and in the weeks leading up to the match last week that was aired publicly on last Thursday. We've been talking like the Witching Power has a crap ton of potential. Like they have a ton of potential, and they are. And out of the two teams that we had mentioned, they had the better shot at upsetting the Founding Fathers. Because for those who are unfamiliar with the tournament, the winner of this plays the Founding Fathers, which is the inarguable 1 seed of this whole tournament. And it's damn, that match proved a ton to me. Okay, a couple of things I wanted to touch on. Like you mentioned, Perry Nemiroff. Holy crap.
Dangerous.
I mean, Haley Fouch is such a great compliment to Perry. I know they podcast together all the time, but damn, they're such a great tandem, and I love that. Like what they had at Collider is carrying over to this new era of the Schmodown. Love to see it. Eric Zipper, Eric Zipper's had one hell of a year. If there was a most improved in the Schmodown, I'm gonna toss Eric Zipper's name into that. I mean, as everybody should. Eric Zipper's one of the more I feel like he improves over time, more so and more so. Ever since we saw him first with World's Finest with Winston when they were actually competing, or when Winston was competing, he's grown leaps and bounds.
Oh, without a doubt, he has.
1,000%.
He's a much different player, a much better player, honestly. And you gotta love it. Like I see where he is now, and I'm like, this is the person I always thought we could have.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know. It's you just gotta hope. It felt like.
Yeah. Because when Winston and Eric showed up first with World's Finest, everybody's eyes went to Winston because he's the eccentric one. He's the Eric was more so the straight man if he had out of that comedic duo, you know. But when Eric turned heel, everybody was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! Like, why'd you gotta do that, bruh?" Because we're so used to the comedic tandem of the two of them. But Eric's been freaking showing out every time he goes out, even in a loss like this.
Yes.
Spoiler alert, if you have not seen the match this past Thursday, I apologize. But I promise that's the only match we're spoiling today. But the stuff with Eric, you can't sleep on him. Like at this point, from this point forward, Eric Zipper he's like upper mid tier, damn near top tier on a good day. Like at least in my opinion.
I'll stick with upper mid tier. He's upper mid tier because he's still
really
he's really good. He's upper mid tier for the fact that he's like Paul Preston. They're both upper mid tier because there are days where they just kill it, and there are days where they just struggle and don't show up.
Yeah, and even in a loss, Zipper's collected more L's than his performance reflects.
Yes.
But I think that him and Adam were a great team off the bat, and this may be the last time they played together as the Misfits, which I mean it's upsetting. Because I'm not gonna lie, I like the energy and the aura that the Dungeon produced with the Misfits. I really rocked with what Kaiser is doing with these two. And Adam Witt, we saw him once, twice maybe.
We saw him a few times last year as a member of the Movie Guys.
Oh, yeah, I keep forgetting the damn Movie Guys. But either way, we've seen him a few times, and to me, I wasn't a fan. I not that I didn't like Adam Witt, I just wasn't buying into what my man was selling. And I will forever have comparisons to these two on the show. But Paul Preston was the Shawn Michaels to Adam Witt's Marty Jannetty. Like that, it was one stuck out over the other. And Paul, I mean, obviously had a kick-ass year last year. Had an this year, but all right. But we'll see how he does in the teams tournament with Tom this year, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I mean, Adam Witt, I hope these two can stick around as on the same faction, as on the same team. Maybe Adam or Eric can do bigger and better things with a different faction. Who knows? And
that was kind of we'll get into that more when we get to the end of the match, but that was kind of touched on towards the end. So I'm excited. Let's talk about it because Haley Fouch started off the match strong, like really strong.
Yeah.
And
which I mean, Christian will be the first person to tell you, Christian Harloff, that's what we expect out of Haley Fouch. That's what we should expect. Yeah, she's not too competitive in the Schmodown, at least in regards to how many times she's competed, but she's pretty darn good and we can't sleep on her.
Right, and we even said you can't sleep on her. And if the Witching Power were to win, it would be because of the tandem of power that this newfound Perry, along with the Haley we already knew as an established player, brought.
1,000%. And that first round, no one was pulling any punches. like if this was a if this is another testament to how great and how competitive the Schmoedown's been in just this past year and a half, especially this year. My God, but 27 points, if I'm not mistaken, that used to be the team record. So
A while ago.
but that's what
Long
I'm
while
saying.
ago.
But that's what I'm saying. Like if you picked up this match and placed it a couple years back, this match of the year contender, baby. Like
Yeah.
that's just it. The Schmoedown quality of match is up so much, and these competitors slowly but surely are adjusting to that. Even someone like Perry, who hasn't been Leo, baby, what's going on? Adam Witt's 5-0 across teams.
0-5.
0-5, that's what I meant. And I'm sorry, Leo, I can't read. Next season, we'll get him his first victory. I hope so.
Because he's a damn good player. Like you can't take that away from him.
He's decent. I mean, I'd say Eric is definitely the better player of the two, but I'm not trying to knock Adam at all. And shout out, thanks for the stat, Leo. You're like our Frankie Numbers. I gotta take a nickname for you.
Leo pops in on the Ultimate Schmoedown show, so gotta thank you.
Yeah, brother. I appreciate the crossover. Yeah, go check them out on Fridays. They're cool peeps. But with what they're doing with this match, right? Like you said, Haley was on fire. I mean, they were all killing it. They were all killing it. It was a 3-point victory. It was 27-24 in favor of the Witching Power. But it's just, damn, what a kick-ass playing match to begin the tournament that's already going to be full of hard hitters. And this Friday, we're gonna talk about Category 9 and the Odd Couple, which another one that could potentially be full of hard hitters or a sad early exit for some teams. But we'll get to that in a little bit. Either way, I was really impressed by all four competitors here. And this match ruled, man. It was another great play-in, another great start to a tournament. I love seeing these strong starts to tournaments. Yes, it's a play-in match. It's going to go first regardless. But I like what we're getting in the Schmoedown. I'll repeat it to the day I die. This season's been the most important season the Schmoedown's ever had. And this is another reason into why team play, at least in this new StreamYard iteration that we're currently in, not only does it work, but you gotta freaking bring it now, especially with these new established teams that are coming in.
I'm actually, when it comes to teams, I'm more on the side of Christian, to where I'm not the biggest fan of this new setup in teams because, well, the second round and the third round in a title match are just clunky.
Oh, I mean, of course. It's what's the word I'm looking for? Putting it together it takes a while, especially if we're watching it live.
Right.
Like it takes a hot second. So I mean, I don't blame them. I mean, and trust me, I'm jonesing to get back in the studio. But as of right now, I'm taking it as is, and I still think the play from competitors is on 10 across the board. Doesn't matter if you're one of those top tiers like we were talking about with Dan or John or Ethan, or if we're talking about the newer players, like an Adam Collins. He just showed up, and now here he is. Like the amount of play or the style of play may be different just a little bit in regards to studio versus here on StreamYard, but the quality is on 10. It's on 10. Doesn't matter who you are. You got to bring it now. And both these teams who may have been outliers going into this, let's be honest. They're not the Odd Couple. But they don't have the name like the Founding Fathers or the name like Final Exam, especially this year. But both these teams did a really damn good job. And on a different day, they like 27 points can win you a match against the Odd Couple, can win you a match against Lethal Weapons, the on-paper tandem of Ethan Irwin and Andrew Guy. You know what I mean? So this is a very quality match to begin this team's tournament, 1,000%.
Yeah. Now, second round, we had Witching Power slipped up a bit. They landed on Kurt Russell. Haley seemed really mad at herself. She's like, the only Funko Pops I collect are Kurt Russell, and of course I'm mad at myself because I'm not getting any of these questions. And dude's got a big filmography. Can't blame her. So
yeah, and those actor specific categories psych me out. Like they give me anxiety when I'm watching it. You know, like especially like when Angela Bassett first got introduced, I'm like, oh Lord God. Like those actor specific ones. If you're not Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise, Will Smith, like I think
it's harder to get
it's more
along.
difficult because Kurt Russell, yeah, he's had some big blockbusters in his career, but like you said, he's been in a ton of things. So it's hard to like when Kurt Russell isn't out here still pumping out the big studio backed movie. You know what I mean? So it's hard as someone who's watching this.
Leo Logan says the Witching Power missing Tombstone was soul crushing. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't have got that because I haven't seen it. So
Tombstone is a movie that's popped up a few times in the Schmodown.
This year especially.
Yeah.
This year.
And maybe because I haven't seen it either, Matt. And I'm sorry to Leo if you're a big fan of Tombstone. Maybe one day we have to watch it, Matt. Maybe we can watch it with you, Leo. We can do something cool. But no, those actor specific questions they're rough. I mean, Haley's obviously a fan of Kurt Russell. It's like me getting has it aired? I think so. My match against Boggs.
Oh yeah, that aired last week.
Okay, yeah, cool. It's like me getting Pixar, and just I love Pixar to death, and I struggled through my second round. So, and it's just rough because you want to say you know it, but you don't. But either way,
struggling's kind.
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
being humble is even kinder. So
I'm kidding.
The actor specific ones they're rough, and Kurt Russell I would have had a hard time too with those questions. A really hard time.
And I forget what did our boys on the Misfits land on? I forget right now.
As I'm mid-chew, sorry, I haven't eaten dinner yet. To everyone watching, but yeah, quick search. Unless Leo, you can pop it in the chat for me, because I can't think of it off the top of my head either. Because
Tell me something.
what I want, yeah. Either way. Not to dwell on it, but the match as a whole, as I mentioned, directors, thank you, Leo Logan.
Thank you, Leo.
Like for Zip and Adam Witt, like they, and I mentioned it with Eric's play not too long ago. Like Eric is better every single time, and Adam, to me, he's still an anomaly with the Schmodown. Yeah, he's been in 5 matches, but I still can't gauge where this man's strengths are. And directors, again, that's another iffy. It depends on how deep cutty the writers want to get.
Yeah. But yeah, so they did relatively well with directors, relatively well. And they had this nice low lead going into it. The Witching Power goes into round 3. Nail all 3 of their questions. No hesitation. Just get them. So all that the Misfits have to do is score 5 points. They can get the first 2 right, or they can just get the last one right, and they win. That's all they got to do.
Mm-hmm.
And they choked it away. I was stunned.
It's another situation of like, don't count your chickens before they hatch, right? Because the Witching Power, they were, like you mentioned, they were coming out of the second round, not too hot, but the third round questions went in their favor. And to the surprise of the Misfits, theirs weren't too hot either. Sean Sullivan, what's going on?
Sean Sullivan, nice to see you, sir. Yeah, his strengths are comedy and being charming, without a doubt. And I love watching him play.
He is one charming mofo, 1,000%. But with that third round, the Misfits were
yes, Leo, that was the one that killed me.
What was the Margot Robbie question again?
Who played Leonardo, the second wife to Leonardo DiCaprio's character?
Oh my god! Yeah, you got to know.
The first wife is Christina Milioti from How I Met Your Mother. Christina Milioti. Thank you, from How I Met Your Mother. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows because I'm like that him getting with Margot Robbie is what shot her career. That film is what shot her career. Yeah. Like when I'm like, oh, that's a give me.
You just got to know Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah.
You have to have seen the trailer. How about that? But I lost my train of thought. But yeah, the third round of questions is then going in favor of the Misfits. So I guarantee they're like, oh, yo, easy dub. We're about to go place the damn Founding Fathers, but you just can't get ahead of yourself. And that's the nature of the game with the Schmodown. The Witching Power, they had a rough second round, but the second round, when they play the Founding Fathers, crucial. Like, because if you're playing Dan and you're playing Roka, and I don't want to get ahead a little bit, but if you're playing those two, you can't just get 4 points in your second round. That's not a move. That's not going to be enough. But either way, like you mentioned, the post game in regards to the future of the dungeon and the members of the dungeon was alluded to in a pretty what's the word I'm looking for? It was just weird. We're already talking about the future, and we're getting in depth into it because it's November. The season ends in about a month and a half ish. Right before we get into the big ass free agency, because that's going to be it's gonna be a mess to cover.
I'm excited to see where a lot of people go on free agency. We get into like a 20-minute conversation about it almost every episode, it seems like. So I'm trying not to do that today.
Just the
hypotheticals of it all, because it's insane.
Just wait till we actually know where people are going. God, the show's gonna be 4 hours long. We're about to pull a really scary.
I was about to say we're gonna hit really scary territory, but man, I really hope we don't.
A clean cleek. I refuse.
No. So do I.
No more clean cleats.
My cap out for this show is a hard 2 hours. 2.5 is pushing it. I'll do 2.5 if there's a guest.
If there's a guest, I'll do 2.5.
I can live with 2.5. Yes, but like Winston, when we had Winston on, that was great.
Yeah,
but yeah,
that was 2.5. That was the clean cleek. For those who don't know, our boy Taylor Cleek, friend of the show. If you want to go watch his horror show alongside Connor Breedlove, Really Scared on Thursdays on this channel and Facebook page, they do at least 2.5 hours every week. Clean, the clean cleek, 2.5 hours.
Just insane. And I don't know if we're live on Twitch because I know I avoided going on there because I know Connor was streaming for a lot of the day, so I didn't put us on. Yeah, he's not live anymore, so I'm gonna throw us on Twitch real quick.
Hell yeah, just throw us on Twitch. We are on Twitch as well. We're everywhere. But in regards to the match, going back to that for a second before we get any crazier talking about the rest of our channel, the Witching Power comes out on top. Now they're playing the Founding Fathers.
Leo Logan says the Founding Fathers Witching Power needs to have a better round 2 than what we just saw, and I agree completely. It's just one of those things. How can you do it? How can you get a win over two of arguably the two greatest players in Schmodown history? They're on a team. How can you get a win if you're only scoring 4 points in the second round? Unless they somehow land on opponent's choice.
And Leo, you are preaching to the damn choir over here, because now that match is going to be it can easily go either way if Witching Power stays competitive through that second round, like you mentioned. That second round is going to be crucial. It's going to be fun to watch. And we had said on the show before that the Witching Power gave the better fight to the Founding Fathers opposed to the Misfits. After watching this match, I'm doubled down on that.
Not so sure about that after this match.
I want to say, it was the category. Because say for example, because horror's gonna be on the damn wheel. Oh, yeah. They go 8 for 8 if they get horror movies against the Founding Fathers. I think that's even at like Perry's show that she can do monster movies in the damn singles tournament.
Well, she didn't realize monster movies is going to be tied into horror movies. So I remember her like, I guess monster movies.
Well,
okay, I know, but I get what you mean. It's just one of those things.
New releases can also do them really well. They obviously review movies all the time. So
New Releases is going to do any of those 4 well because they all review movies.
Well, that's the thing. It's the luck of the draw. Obviously, if they get like a Kurt Russell, or I will never not hark on Angela Bassett because that category scared the shit out of me when I first saw it.
Yes.
So like like a category like Angela Bassett, Kurt Russell, to me they're in the same vein. That's a toughie for anybody. And you got to pull unless you get the Black Panther question like in the
what's up?
Damn, the flag. I keep forgetting the flag, bro. Today I got my my greatest the celebration of the greatest time travel story ever told by Brad Gilmore. Shout out to Brad Gilmore. I got that box. I hope that's good enough. Flag, I'll work on it.
He's
Hopefully,
got to get a smaller one for his new setup. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He's got to get a smaller one.
Yeah, I got to get a more condensed one. 'Cause I moved out to my living room now. I'm not in my room anymore. Because, quality of the show. But but the witching power, I mean, let's be real. I agree with Leo. I have the Founding Fathers as well advancing. Yeah. But I can't entirely count out the witching power. I can't.
I can't. But they needed their opponent to miss their entire third round to win the match.
You're right. Yeah. And
so
it's just fudge, man. I just we'll see. That the wheel can screw so many people over, and especially with this match we just saw, we saw that even though the team won, they still struggled in the second round. But Founding Fathers, I think we can be confident in that 100%.
Yeah. So let's move on from this match. Oh wait, we still the dungeon half of it. So we're going to cover this in 3 parts. First part, Adam Witt. Adam Witt seems committed to Kaiser in the dungeon. He seems like that's where he wants to stay. More power to him. Good for him. I think that's a good fit because a lot of players on that team have said he's kind of been like the assistant coach, and Kaiser kind of hinted at it at the beginning of the match. So cool, great,
fantastic.
Part 2 is Kaiser. The dungeon has had a down year. If I remember correctly, they're actually in last place. And I'm going to pull up the faction standings right now, and we're going to see.
I feel bad for the dungeon. I genuinely do.
So they're in second to last. The only team behind them is the Burning Droogs.
Yeah. And we'll see what they do on Friday. But I get ahead of myself. And what was that third part? Go ahead and hit me with that. I'll hit them all. 1, 2, 3.
Eric Z-Man Zipper.
Okay.
He kind of hinted at it may be time to look at other options. Maybe Kaiser's not that guy to put me over the top like I need to be.
Okay. So let me break those down. 3 little strikes for you. 1, Adam Witt. Okay. If I'm John Kaiser, right, and this halfway ties into the second one. If I'm John Kaiser, is Adam Witt, am I capable of getting 3 better players, whether I'm a faction now or in other factions, before Adam Witt? Am I capable of doing that? Obviously, It's possible, but can I do it? Because unfortunately, Kevin Smets will not be in the season next year. He's going to cool it. So your heavy hitter, your powerhouse, is not going to be a part of your faction. But on the bright side, it does clear up one other spot for your 3.
Can we say unfortunately it clears up another spot, because you shouldn't use bright side with that situation.
Well, my man's going to be fine. I don't know what you're talking about. But for now, there will be an extra spot in the dungeon going forward, because Smets was a lock, and everyone was convinced. Good luck pulling Smets from Kaiser. Good luck. But now that won't be the case anymore, Kaiser has to think big picture. Who do you want to keep? Who do you want to keep not only out of your faction, but who are you going to try to rock with, try to steal from other factions?
Can I be honest? I don't think Kaiser keeps anyone from I don't think he keeps anyone from his current faction with his 3 protected places, for his 3 free agency slots. No one on his faction is coming back. He might reach out to Eric, and if he swings and misses in free agency, like some NBA teams do, there's no overpaying in the Schmodown, but NBA teams will go out there, and even NFL teams, we missed out on this guy, so now we're going to make a hard pitch to this guy because we don't want to be left in the dust. That's what I think we'll see happen.
Okay. So to tie into the second one, to answer the first question.
Yeah.
I don't think Adam Witt is top 3 protected worthy. No. And again,
hasn't won a game yet.
Adam Witt. It's just I bet I can name a bunch of other competitors if I'm John Kaiser that I would like before Adam Witt. To go into John Kaiser's point. You're second to the bottom of the faction standings. You just had a rough year, and let's be honest, it started with the rough draft. The literal rough
You,
draft.
you can't rely on rookies. That was his mistake. He
You
drafted
can't rely
how
on
many
one
rookies?
division either.
Yeah, you can't rely on one division. He drafted how many rookies? How many Inner Geekdom players? Like
He put all
everyone.
his eggs in the one division and hoped it would work, and all of them cracked by the end of the year. Smets dropped the belt. Robert Parker was, let's be real, it was a big disappointment. Nick, I think it's very easy to overpay someone by grabbing someone who you think you need, but they might not be as good of a fit out of desperation. That was Robert Parker at the draft.
Yep.
That's exactly what it was. He was scared that Robert wasn't going to drop, which at least the hype was huge for the Spider. The hype, there was a ton of hype. And Kaiser was the first to bite at it, and it bit him in the ass. That's what it did. Like, he was, the second pick after Smets?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And Robert Parker played, 2 matches this year?
2 or 3, yep.
And he won. He beat Ace to start. They threw Ace to the Wolf, and we saw what happened. But then the Wolf was just a sheep in wolf's clothing because he lost in the freaking Inner Geekdom tournament.
I wish we still had that bracket here. I wish we still had that bracket on here because I'd pull it up and check.
Like, he lost in the Inner Geekdom tournament. He's supposed to be this Inner Geekdom wizard, right? Like, he was hyped up to be this unstoppable Inner Geekdom. I haven't seen him in the fan leagues. I can't comment. But the hype that he had going into this year, Kaiser bought into it, and it bit him in the ass. But the rest of the draft for Kaiser wasn't too hot. And I mean, that's great you have Eric. But going into the third one, Eric's not going to – I think Eric's going to be picked up by somebody else. If I'm Eric –
I think Eric's going to look personally to make sure he's with someone he feels is a better coach. Do we? I highly doubt it, but do we see Eric reach out to Winston? And if so, I want to see Winston laugh in his face.
I mean, and we talked about Winston's tough ass situation at Swag. I don't think Eric's going to go to Swag.
Neither do I.
Winston would be nice, to put it lightly, to consider Eric for one of his 3 spots. Nice. He'd be a nice friend to Eric if he was to consider him.
Thank you, Leo Logan. 2-1.
Thank you. I forgot he beat Ben. I don't even want to talk about Ben. But if Video
Drew loses Friday, she may have to look elsewhere too. I think the dungeon is the one where everybody's jumping ship. I don't think the Droogs are, and they're probably going to be the Knights of Ken next year. But I don't think the Droogs are, for the fact that Ken was put in a tough situation. He inherited a team that he didn't draft. He inherited a team. What can you do in that situation?
If I'm Kaiser, you keep saying everyone wants to jump ship. If I'm Kaiser, I'm letting everybody go. I'm opening the cages and letting them go.
See, I don't think anybody will really choose Kaiser.
And I think we're underestimating how well liked Kaiser is in the Schmodown. I think that.
Well, no, I'm not saying it from that standpoint. I'm saying it from the standpoint of outside of Schmetz and Oyama, 0 success. And we don't. Who even knows if his success or if Oyama's success was from Kaiser?
And that's something that that was another thing that Kaiser was doing, especially going into this year with Robert Parker. And thank you to Leo for correcting me. He was 2-1. He beat Goddard first round, lost to Chance, I believe, in the second round.
Yes.
And what John Kaiser likes to do is hitch his wagon to somebody and rock with it. Whether it was Oyama, Smets. Smets was by far the most successful, at least in my opinion.
I had to say, because he got Oyama basically right when Oyama started. So I had to say Oyama's the most successful, had a title defense, won a title.
And then left Kaiser. And got drafted by Winston.
Yeah.
But I think Kevin's running Inner Geekdom just stands out more to me. I'm sorry. But he hitches his ride to somebody and he runs with it. Smets and Robert Parker being the 2 big examples, and one blew up in his face. Yeah, he had a positive record, but 2-1 isn't worthy of a
second round selection.
Yes, there are
a third round selection. You can make that argument. Second round selection, late second maybe, but early second where he went, no.
Yeah, he went way too goddamn early. But to answer the Eric Zipper portion of your 3 points, If I'm Eric, I'm looking at maybe a Sam Levine. That'd be cool. Because you want someone that can actually help you and guide you in the game, and to be
I think
managed by one of the best players of all time would be pretty damn awesome.
Yeah.
If I'm Eric.
Personally, I think his best options are a Roxy Stryer or Sam Levine.
Yeah.
Roxy would be a nice fit, but I think because Tom, I don't think Tom. Shannon, no. Winston, he'll laugh in his face for even asking. It's just you look. Coy, maybe.
It depends on Coy's situation,
right? And I think
he has 2 of the 3 locked with Shazam.
Yeah, and I think Coy might view Perry as a lock with how Perry has been playing. We're seeing a different Perry.
Yeah.
Like, then you have Kate maybe, but I don't think his options for finding a manager that will help him break through into that next layer of stardom or level of stardom.
Narrow.
It's narrow. He either has to say, okay, it doesn't look like I'm going to get to choose. I just got to take my luck and go to the draft.
Okay. Now, if I'm a Schmodown competitor, the draft is terrifying to me.
And I agree. But
if I'm top 30, take somebody. Like, I don't want to go in the draft and have someone pick me because they had to. Like,
it's not because they had to. It's because you look at it this way. If I'm a competitor and because players do this all the time. As a competitor, the teams that I want to go to don't have a spot for me right now. I just got to take my chances. And they'll sit. In my opinion, going to the draft right now is the equivalent of sitting in the Schmodown. Because now you got to wait and take it and hope things pan out the way you want them to.
And yeah, I mean, everything you said was fact. The only thing that I had to disagree with is, if you do sit, that's you going into the draft. And we're legitimately getting a main event for a throwdown because someone was being a jerk and took somebody when the fans didn't want them to necessarily be taken. So that's my whole thing. So hypothetically, say I'm Eric Zipper and I want to go to, I want to go to the FinStock Exchange. So obviously Tom's not going to take me top 3 because his top 3 are essentially locked, at least as far as we know. We have no idea. But say his top 3 are locked, and he's like, nope, no, everybody else, I am not going to. I'm not going to sign with you. I'm going to the draft. Not only is that off-putting, but now someone can really think like, yo, I can do something with Eric Zipper, and if I'm going in, it's FinStock, and I'm taken by the damn. The Knights of Ken.
Here's my thing.
There you go.
I don't think he's zeroed in on one. I think he's looking at a grouping.
I mean, of course, you have to.
But that's one thing.
You have no choice.
There's 9 teams as of right now. Maybe a 10th gets added in this upcoming season. But as of right now, there's 9 teams. You got a 33% shot of, let's say he's looking at 3. You've got a 33.3% chance of getting on one of those teams you want to go to. And
I mean, if that's the case, then great. But there's the other 66.6 that scares the shit out of me.
And I get it, but
it's the luck of the draft. So it is what it is.
But we know the draft is doing what every major sport does, and they're going by order of worst to first.
Of course, yeah.
So
and we'll
you think Kaiser would waste a first rounder on Zipper?
If okay, and about that, right? The first round of this draft
is really the 4th round is in real life. Yes, I know.
Yeah. So I mean, that's damn near a compliment. If you're taking first round, that means like, damn, I couldn't get you in free agency because my team was locked, but I'm gonna take you now. But to get away from the draft, because I mean, I agree with everything you're saying. If I am Eric Zipper, I am looking towards Levine. That's to me that makes sense.
And that's why I bring this up. If the draft were today, Levine's got the 3rd pick. if the draft were today.
Word. Okay. But I mean, we still have a team's turning to get through. We'll see is he even in spectacular as of right now?
Who? Levine? No.
So,
Spectacular. Let's see. Spectacular. We have
title match, not Levine.
Title,
not Levine. Tags could be Levine.
Tags possibly, and then we have
Young Jericho. Is Brittany Young with Levine or no?
Let me pull up the rosters.
Because Smith Sheridan's not Levine.
Brittany Young is the Dungeon.
Oh wow! How about that? Surprise! So Kaiser's already a lot for spectacular. That's fantastic. And am I missing one? No, teams. So teams is his only chance into. Well,
I forget who's Smith. Smith's playing Sheridan, so that's a Den matchup.
That's Den Rocks. That's Den Quirky Mercs.
Yeah, that's Den Quirky Mercs. Here, they have it all listed here. So
fantastic.
We got Alex Damon versus Ace, Rockstars and Swag, Jericho versus Young, Rockstars versus Dungeon, Shazam versus Teams Tournament winner. That could potentially be usual suspects. Then you have Chandru and Chance. That's Swag and KO. Quirky Mercs, Brett Sheridan and Kevin Smith. That's the Den and Quirky Mercs. Yep. And then you have KO and Finstock Exchange in the title match. So he's got one shot. I look at it this way. He needs to pray that they get here, because if not, we basically have 3 teams wouldn't be represented in the spectacular.
That's some real shit.
Because Rockstar's got 2 matches. Swag has 2 matches. The Dungeon has a match. Quirky Mercs has 2 matches. Finstock Exchange and Corruption. So that there's 7 teams being represented. So you're missing 2. But
that's such a slap in the face if you're a manager. But yeah, I mean, Sam could easily fall low and pick somebody up, pick a man like Zipper up early. But I mean, I think Eric's good enough to be taken in the early 27, or potentially early 30. There's another faction taken or another faction added. And to me, I just think Sam Levine's the best pick, because not only is Sam a stud in the Schmodown, we've seen him when he was competing, but unofficially, unless something changes between now and when free agency starts, you get a great assistant coach in Rachel Cushing. And it's been no secret that Rachel helps the people in The Usual Suspects. So that's a kick-ass duo, if I say so myself, halfway co-managing me. If I'm Eric Zipper,
and see,
if I'm Zip, I'm looking at
well. Then another aspect, Zip is a 3-division player. He plays IG.
Yep.
He plays teams and he plays singles. You have arguably the greatest IG player as the co-coach there.
Arguably, yeah. Damn close. If she's not, she's damn close.
But here's the thing. Levine, he's probably going to try to lock up Ethan. If The Usual Suspects kills it like we think they are, he's probably going to try to keep Andrew Guy and Ethan together. Mm-hmm. So that leaves him one spot. His roster currently, let me pull this up.
I damn near think even if
like here, his
Janine. Go ahead. Say it one more time.
Janine is his 3rd best player right now. Because the rest of his roster is Cameron Rice, Doug Benson, Jen Kemp, Matt Atchey, Molly Damon, Robert Montano, and Sabina Graves.
Okay. I'm asking you right now on the spot. Who would you take, Janine or Eric?
I want to say Janine, but Eric's more consistent.
I know damn well you want to say Janine. I mean, I take Eric. If I'm being honest. If I have that 3rd one, because like you mentioned,
and that's what I said. He's more consistent, so I have to go with him. I want to say Janine so bad, but the inconsistencies is what causes me not to go with her. Does Eric lose? Yes, but they're always a close margin. They're a close margin. Janine's haven't always been a close margin. They're close when she wins, but unfortunately, when she loses, they're not. And that's just what throws it off right there.
And Eric's consistent in all three divisions. Like he's good in all three of them. Like he hasn't necessarily broken through that, as you mentioned earlier, but I'm confident. I would take Eric in confidence, but Janine, we've talked about her on the show a decent amount. Like Janine's a kick-ass player, and she will definitely go top 27, potentially top 30 if there's another faction added, because like she's incredible. She's gonna do some great things. It's just she hasn't had too much luck. She hasn't played too much this year because before that she wasn't playing too hot. She wasn't doing too hot. So that's why she's only played a couple times, right? Not even a handful of times. So
and
I take Eric if I'm being honest.
And I want to get a third voice in on here because he's been sitting in the backstage for a while. Let's bring in our boy, your teammate.
Nick Moback, baby. I didn't know.
Hi, everybody. I'm just here to shut down the Thomas's Wi-Fi by using another computer.
Word. Yo, Nick Moback, co-host of Russell Real every Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern on Who Are They Real Entertainment's YouTube channel.
That's right, baby.
The Nick Moback. Yo. So, Nick, I'm going to ask you the same question. If you had to take someone, if you're Sam Levine, right? Mm-hmm. Ethan Irwin's a lock. You're staying with Ethan because obviously he's the man.
And let's say in this hypothetical, Andrew Guy is also a lock. Also, you got that one spot.
Andrew Guy's a lock. Arguably, okay. I would say Andrew Luck's a lock. Andrew Guy's a lock anyway. But that's my personal opinion. But that third pick, would you rather pick Janine the Machine, who's already on your faction, who's had some decent showings these past couple months? Really, she's had some decent showings, but she's a little inconsistent, or Eric Zipper, after he's not his record doesn't reflect his performance, but he's a 3-division player and he's pretty all right in all three of them. If you just pick one. Pick.
Oh boy. Well, you're putting me on the spot here. I love Janine. I think she's great.
I'm putting Janine on the spot.
I honestly do think that Janine and Sam work well together. So I think that there is a sense of something that you have to remember, as good as Zipper is that consistency also can really help you out in these types of situations. You know, you have a manager who's there for you. You know, if I'm a person who is managing one of the teams, in my opinion, do I want to go through needing to train a new ear to this all the time? You know what I mean? I
way of managing, like how Sam is to Janine.
Right. I think that they work really well together. They're good for each other. I would keep Janine personally. I think the Zipper might have that breakout year and make me regret that statement. But Janine's been in title situations before, hasn't she? I believe, right?
I think she got close to a team title, but didn't get there. She's like a number one contender match with Ethan, if I remember correctly, or right around there.
But again, you know, Ethan and Janine know each other. You got him already on the team. I personally would like to see Janine continue to grow as she moves along in the Schmodown. And I don't know. I do think that Zipper might make me regret saying that, but I will say I think that Janine should stick with Sam Levine.
No, I totally understand your POV, especially like you said, and there could easily be an upswing. Like say Janine does hypothetically stay with Sam, this role she's on can continue going into next season. She's already had a success with Sam. Why switch things up? And if she and Sam mutually agree to stay on the same faction, then by all means. Like I don't think it's a bad pick. I'm just saying that I would, if I'm Sam, I'd rather go through the process of picking that 3-division player that obviously is all right. He's at least.
Well, Janine's 3 divisions too. You got to remember that. She's 3 divisions.
I'm aware, but like you mentioned a little bit ago, she's inconsistent.
Yeah.
Z-Man is not inconsistent. Well, he can be, but his record doesn't reflect his performance. And I think Eric's been having a kick-ass year. I mentioned earlier in the show that if there was a most improved player, I'm throwing Eric Zipper's name into that conversation now. If there was,
and I do think we need that award. That needs to happen.
Well, here's what I'll say though about Zipper is that you're saying that his performance isn't reflecting his record. Well, I think that it is. Because if he's not doing enough to beat the opponents that he is beating, then his performance is clearly reflective of how he's doing.
Touche. That's I okay.
Gotcha.
But with that being said, I mean, either one of these two, they're going to be taken by somebody. I would be shook if I saw either one of these people taken first round of the 2021 draft. I would be shocked, because to me they're top 30, potentially top 27, depending on how many factions we have next year. But to wrap the discussion about the opening match, Nick, if you have any, do you have any thoughts on Misfits Wishing Power?
I don't think you got to watch it yet.
I have not gotten to watch it yet. But
do you know what happened in the match?
No.
Okay, great. I'm not going to tell you then. And don't watch the replay of this show.
I was kind of there, kind of not, but
he was initially he was in my room when the conversation.
The only thing that I will say, is that you run into an incredible challenge when it comes to the Schmodown and us in general. And although we haven't really branched off into the categories of names as consistently as they have, and that, in my opinion, though you could have a person who clearly is a fan of that person, drawing Kurt Russell, it can bite you in the butt. I personally, if I draw a name of an actor, I think it's different director wise, but if I draw the name of an actor first, and I'm not comfortable with that, I am spinning away faster than you can say the actor's name.
Word. And like I said, like the Schmonons obviously they've had actor specific categories. They've had their Hankses, they've had their Smiths, they've had their Cruises and all that. Meryl Streep, which I still think one toughie of a category. That's a whole different subsection of film. 1000%.
Because that's so many genres. Many genres. That's like Will Smith. Will Smith and her are probably two of the toughest actors to land on.
And I still think Will Smith is an easier category
because he does more. He does more blockbusters compared to Meryl Streep, who does a lot more of the art house and
Oh yeah, like you're gonna get your what I know we had a Meryl Streep question in RTS not too long ago, and it was pretty damn hilarious watching everyone get stumped by it. But with that being said, Nick, I do recommend watching Misfits and Witching Power in its entirety. It's a great way to start the tournament. It's a kick-ass match to begin this. And the winner, I mean, they face the Founding Fathers, which the inarguable one seed of this whole tournament.
Scary.
I'd be terrified if I'm either team, but that's why I'm here and they're there.
Yes.
So let's talk about the damn matches this week, though. We have four.
Yeah, let's try to rattle through these because let's see. The first one I got to switch back to the actual schedule instead of the team factions. All right. So on tomorrow we got the Odd Couple versus Category 9. Chris, we've talked about this match before. I got the Odd Couple going to this Category 9. Brandon Hanna's not great as a singles player. He's great as an IG player, but he's not great as a singles player. So I can't count on him. Jader has been great on the other hand. Jader's been great as a singles player, but the Tara Snyder's been on.
Yeah. So Category 9, for those who don't know, is the team of Brandon Hanna and Jader Paramo. Jader was the fan that won at the Orlando live event, and now he's here killing it. Except 80s, that's the Achilles heel. Hopefully my man studied, because that's the only thing that sunk him in the singles tournament. And Brandon Hanna, Brandon Hanna's had one hell of a career in the Schmodown for doing almost
nothing,
for having little impact. He's had one hell of a career. Arguably, his impact has been more on the social media aspect of the Schmodown than the actual competition.
You mean the 7-minute promo?
Pissing off Roka.
Pissing off the Smasher.
Yeah.
Going from his transformation from Suitcase Boy when he was with Ben all the way to now what he is, to now he's just a caricature of Ben Bateman and Andrew Guy combined.
Yep.
I still like Brandon's eye. Like I'm not gonna knock him too much. Jader, on the other hand, Jader's actually been freaking killing it.
Yeah. Leo Logan, if Category 9 flops, which I do think they will, Brandon and Jader will seek other teammates. Yeah, and I think that was more so Ken took who he thought were his best players and put them together.
It was weird putting those two together above all things, especially like from the Droogs. Where the hell's Whitney Seibold? But I'm not even gonna get into it.
My boy, I love Whitney.
I love Whitney. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the match. I also have Odd Couple. Like you mentioned, Matt, Jeff Steiner just went on the damn singles run of his life in the singles tournament. And yeah, Mark Andreyko just ran into some walls on the way. Like Mark Andreyko is easily capable of doing what Snyder did, 1,000%. But my man just had a harder time on the left side of the bracket compared to what Snyder did on the right side. And the unproven team of Hannah and Paramo, it's going to be weird to say the least. But I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I still think they'll put up a fight. They're not going to get stomped. But Odd Couple, I'll say TKO third round.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
I'm right there with you. I can't find anything positive to say except Jader's been playing well. I mean, Brendan Hanna has never really done anything in singles or teams. Like most of his career has been IG, and when he has ventured off into those others, it's meh results at best.
And Hannah's just losing to Shanju. Granted, Shanju's obviously been proven to be this killer in Inner Geekdom, so you can't really blame him for the L's. But my man, Brandon Hanna, the master of the 7-minute promo, not even a man that won't STFU, cannot cut a 7-minute promo. So good on you, Brandon Hanna, for being able to talk and to have that static effect on your screen. We all hate it. Stop doing it. So, yeah, it's Odd Couple, the inarguable 2 seed, in my opinion, of the tournament. They're going to get past and then face the real challenge, facing the winner of Lethal Weapons and Deception, but we'll talk about that match next week.
Yeah. All right, and the second match we have is Tom and Paul versus Final Exam.
Yeah.
So
Nick, I actually want your 2 cents first. Man,
who
can talk all day.
Who was the first one? Who was the first?
Tom and Paul and Final Exam.
Oh man,
Salon Harris and Paul Oyama.
Well, I think Final Exam has a chance to do really well this tournament. I'm not going to say win it quite yet because I know those founding fathers are there to take any of my expectations out of it. But the thing is like Preston, man, Streaky, Tom. I love Tom. I just want Tom to do everything and win everything. And if I could live my life as Tom and barely say anything, that would be just the greatest thing in my entire life. But I think that, I mean, clearly Oyama, a lot of these teams, some of these teams have slight advantages in the fact that they've been together for a while now. You know, a lot of these teams are being thrown together. Personally, I think that Final Exam has a chance alone to do well in this tournament only because they've been performing together for so long, over this COVID period. I think that it was great sticking them together. It's two incredibly smart people. I think that they, I'll say it. I think that they have a chance to win it, but they're not my number one. Or I mean, if I'm putting up a ranking, I'd put them top 3 at least.
I can rock with that.
I think that they've been in the number 1 contender spot already. You got 2. Lon could be champion, contending for a championship for all we know in the next few months. I think that Paul obviously has already proven himself. Let's see how far they can go together or continue to go together.
Yeah. And Leo brings us up. Final Exam for me, if Tom and Paul loses, they'd be the most disappointing team of the year. And yeah, I agree because they were a hyped up team coming into this. But Chris, something we forgot to tap on last week when we talked about the horror free-for-all is we saw the return of the professor.
To an extent. It was Halloween.
But my point is, what if we get the professor on Friday and not the delinquent? What then?
And I mean, that's God. Okay, so and for anyone that watches the show, they know that I'm a fan of the personality, obviously, because I am the personality over here with RTS and Spring from the Real. But I like the delinquent. I wasn't as high on the delinquent as everybody else was. Everybody was like, "This is so good. Why is this so good?" I wasn't like that.
That's me. Yeah, I'm still like that because I professor, but I love the delinquent.
It's pretty good.
And to me, like I prefer the professor over the delinquent. So I did get a little pop when I saw Lon Harris and his little jacket and shirt, and I popped a little bit. But the delinquent proved, especially in his match against Adam Collins, that my man needs to calm down. It was another Andrew Guy situation. My man was too in it, too deep, got too comfy. He got too comfortable, and he got his ass whooped in the process. So I mean, if we get the professor back with Paul Oyama, which I mean, if I'm Paul, I'm pissed because I've been asking for that since the beginning of the season, not this, at least character-wise. But I mean, when Nick nailed it on the head, Final Exam, they have the potential to beat the Founding Fathers. I'll say that right now. Yeah. Like if there's gonna be any surprise, it'll be a hypothetical second round between Founding Fathers and Final Exam, and Exam advance to the finals.
Is it a surprise though? Is it a surprise?
To me, yes. Because like on the right side of the bracket, for example, it's Deception and the Lethal Weapons. That's one of the more anticipated matches because not only do we have singles tournament champion Adam Collins and Marisol McKee, another stud in the Corruption faction, facing off against Ethan and Guy. Granted, two proven teams competitors, but teaming up for the first time in that match. So that's anticipated, and that may go to Deception. I've been talking about that since the damn tournament got announced. Like, I'm like, yo, Deception on paper kicks ass. And Collins winning the tournament further solidifies that statement. Granted, my opinion on the winner proves otherwise. But Final Exam beating a potential, or spoiler alert, I have Final Exam beating Tom and Paul.
I think we've said this on the show plenty of times. So it's not
Leo, you nailed it on the head. Tom and Paul, I don't think they'll live up to expectation. They haven't lived up to expectation. I think they won't. They will not be a team going into next year.
I see Paul looking to go elsewhere because I don't think he's done well under Kate.
I think Tom needs to go to a faction that will fully not only let him go weird with his character. Granted, we saw that, but Kate's not a good complement to that. And he's a kick-ass competitor. He doesn't need a good manager.
You want to know what I think? I think Tom pulls the everyone wants me, but I'm going to make sure I'm paired with Drew.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
If you want me, you sign Drew.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a theory, but I'll save that so we all get our 2 cents on this match. So remind me in a second. But I think, Final Exam's going to take this. If we get the professor, game. Call it then. Call it. I'm tired. I'm not even going to entertain Tom and Paul. No shade to Tom and Paul, but they just haven't lived up to the hype as a team. And they were, when we first saw them as a team earlier in the year, we're like, yo, this is a potential championship caliber team.
And we just haven't gotten that.
And Paul just had a slump this year, competing wise. Tom, like what Nick mentioned, Tom's been a killer. By the way, did y'all see Tom's face in the Facebook group? Did y'all see that?
No.
Someone found Tom, like his face, like his actual face, and who Tom is as a person. It scared the shit out of me. Like I'm like, yo, that's Tom. I wish they didn't show me that. It was like finding out Bruce Willis was dead at the end of Sixth Sense. Like it was like that. Like I'm like, no. Like,
whoa.
I know, right? But the
Kane unmasking. That's where I'm
yes, it was the Kane. Yes, the perfect analogy. Wrestle Real every Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It was the Kane unmasking. I'm like, why did you do that? I didn't need to see that. Please, for the love of God. But Tom and Paul, I mean, they're gonna play well, 1,000%. But Final Exam, they were this close to beating Shazam, who are now the champs. So I don't know what else I can say about Final Exam that already hasn't been said. They're a great team, one of the surprises of this year, and this could be their last run as a team together. Could be.
All right, now we're on to the main event of this week, the Throwdown with Jen Kemp and Video Drew undercard. Who you got? Personally, I got Video Drew. Don't know enough about Jen Kemp to feel comfortable going with her as my option, but Video Drew, we've seen how she can play. Like she is the definition of a streaky of J.R. Smith. She's either going great or she's going 0 of 5.
Word. I mean, that was one hell of a comparison, that J.R. Smith and Video Drew.
Well, for those who don't know, J.R. Smith is a crazy mofo. That's where the comparison comes in. J.R. Smith takes off his shirt and runs around shirtless after winning a championship and pours Henny all over his body.
And that man's living.
He doesn't even like it, apparently.
Yeah, doesn't even like Henny.
I find that's probably the most surprising thing you've said this entire time. But I also have Video Drew. I love Video Drew. When she first
I was on Cinefanatics last month, out of character.
What? I gotta watch that now. I want to hear him talk out of character. Oh, I'm in. I'm so in. Leo, send me the link, but tweet me the link, bro. But I have Video Drew, like you said. I'm not too familiar with Jen Kemp. I don't know what she's capable of. Granted, she could easily come as a surprise. She could easily be like this shit. We don't know. The playing matches for the singles tournament are Exhibit A. There could be some studs. We had an unknown, a relative unknown, win the damn singles tournament. So anything could happen. But from what I know right now, Video Drew's taking the undercard. More points for the dungeon.
Yes, agreed, 100%. All right, Nick, how about you?
Nick, Nick, do you first of all, do you love
Jen Kemp for the win? Video Drew and Paul Preston could join Adam Witt and Jim Favado being 0-3 this season.
Wow, Leo Logan. I need that Cinefanatics link, but I'm gonna keep that Jen Kemp on in mind.
Leo. I found it. That's why I muted my mic. So I think that I'm more or less going for this because obviously I don't know who Jen Kemp is either. I love Video Drew. Video Drew is why I love watching the Schmodown. So like
her and Tom for you.
Yeah, live the gimmick. Live the gimmick.
Crazy gimmicks that do well. I mean, come on. She's lasted as long as she has. But I just enjoy watching Video Drew, so I would be pulling for her every single time just for that reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember Taylor, and I know Taylor said he's watching. Taylor straight up
clean quick.
Taylor straight up said that he's like, yo, from now on, let me know, because he can't keep up on every match now. But he's like, whenever Video Drew plays, let me know. Shoot me the link. Do whatever you got to do. I'm watching Video Drew play.
Word. Undercard, baby. Schmodown Throwdown this Friday.
All right. Now, Chris, it's the match you don't want to talk about.
No, I'm out. We're wrapping the show. Thanks, guys, for watching. I can't talk about this match, bro.
It breaks my heart too, homie. Don't worry.
Yeah, I can't.
Elliot Dewberry. Elliot Dewberry versus Josh Makuga. The match that breaks everyone's heart because
the match that no one wanted. No one wanted.
Everyone wanted this match, but they didn't want it on these terms.
Oh, I mean, no. On what group chat are you in that I'm not a part of?
Well, no, everyone. Well, remember, we were getting this set up in the beginning of the year, but we didn't. We weren't set up as a whole. You know, it wasn't being set up as a retirement match.
Okay, so a little context. It was before the team's title match, the last Throwdown, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, you are correct.
Elliot Dewberry and Josh Makuga have had they had one of the only storyline progressions over StreamYard, right? And it was Elliot being all shitty, like, hey man, like you're out here doing your thing, I'm out here doing my thing. Where were you this whole year? Where were you at, bro? And Josh is like, come on, man, like we're good, bro. Like we're good, right?
He's like, at least emails, this, that, and the other. And he's like,
yeah.
No, you didn't. I'm just like, yeah, I did. How did you not get him? In my head, I'm like, Shannon's hiding that shit.
Yeah, I'm like, bro, like Elliot was all shooting. I'm like, no, bro, like why are you doing that? And then Elliot's like, you, me, retirement match, and everyone's like, no. no. I'm like, why? Why? On God's green earth, first of all, I disagree, Matthew. I think no one wanted to see them compete against each other. We all wanted a reuniting. The draft was the perfect situation.
Here's what people wanted to see. They wanted to see a match of Makuga versus Dewberry. Loser gets traded to the winner's team. That's the stipulation I thought we were getting early in the year, and that's what I was excited for.
I don't know who the hell people are, but I was not people. I wasn't ready for this piece of work that we were getting. That they just dropped the bomb on us, and they made us wait a week for the announcement. Come on, y'all! Like all my wrestling marks out there know if a retirement match is pitched, it's gonna damn happen. Like, oh my Lord and Savior!
Hey, Leo, with the link.
Leo dropped the link for Cinema Fanatics, my man. Thank you, Leo.
It's weird. It's weird.
Is it weird?
A little bit.
Where I'm gonna have to watch. That's gonna be on the docket tonight, Leo. But okay. So let's just rip off the Band-Aid that's on my hand, right? So,
I got Makuga winning. That's what I got. And that's how I'm ripping off the Band-Aid.
Nope. Sorry. I don't know. He's been away way too long.
So is Dewberry? Dewberry played one match. Was Dewberry the one carrying them half the time?
Yes, which is why I think he's gonna win.
Yes. When Makuga's playing by himself, Makuga's a different person, and I don't understand it.
Yeah. I think Dewberry's got it.
So much has happened since we last saw Josh Makuga compete in a regular season Schmodown match.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I think Makuga retires either way. I think if Makuga were to beat Dewberry, he's like, I'm retiring with you. I'm not playing Schmodown with anyone else. I'm not going to play it singles anymore. I'm done.
And that's the harsh reality, right? I talked about this on the show when
it was announced.
When we first thought this was happening, right? Without the Wild Man, there is no personality of the Really Trivia Showdown, which you can catch every Monday and Friday here on the channel. But Josh Makuga's had one hell of a career in the Schmodown. Granted, he hasn't been too active in the later seasons, but without the Blue Fairies what kicked this all off, right? The whole Brett screwed Brett, like that whole angle that they did in the OG Schmodown shows. Christian, the guy that made the show, got screwed by the questions, and Blue Fairy, and Josh Makuga with that Matthew Broderick pull kicked off his guesting career in the Schmodown. Him being put with the Wild Berries was the fan. It was the Schmodown giving the fans what they wanted. Two wild men coming together who may not have been the most successful competitors, but they did a damn good job entertaining people. Yes, they were out here shotgunning beers, drinking them out of the damn funnel. Like, it's some real shit, right? Watching
doing keg stands, having just a good old time.
Whole ass keg stands. It was great, right? And then this happens. What a great way. Let me just commend Christian. What a great way to end throwdowns for the year.
I still would have preferred it was an event at the Spectacular. I got to be honest.
To me, I mean, in my opinion, this can main event Spectacular. I'm sorry, Adam and Dan, but it has, like, the fans care that much about this match, where it could have hypothetically main evented a big pay-per-view, a Collision, a free, like any show you could possibly think of, Spectacular included. This could have main evented. With all that being said, Elliot Dewberry, I think statistically we'd have to ask our boy Frankie Numbers, if he can back this up or if this is true. But I think Elliot statistically is the better competitor.
I think
we see my man pull out some. I mean, Makuga definitely has more appearances under his belt, so they may swing that. They may tip the scale.
No, I think actually they have the stats up here. So let me.
Fantastic. Well, while you're looking that up, Elliot, he's been the one, like, especially when ETC was a thing. I think it was ETC. I think it was called with him and Ricky. Elliot was the one pulling out perfect rounds. He was the one excelling at the Schmodown, just not necessarily getting it correct as the game and matches progressed. I agree with Nick. I agree with Leo Logan, and also to an extent, Matt, I agree with you. I think both of these men will be retired by the end of Friday, but I have Elliot Dewberry winning the match proper.
Well, here, Dewberry is 1-3 in singles.
And Makuga's like 50-50.
Well Dewberry is 6-9 in teams.
He's significantly better. My God. Nice. Good shit, Nick.
Sorry, that's why I'm here.
No, you're fine, dude. You're killing it.
Makuga is 8-11 in singles.
My God.
4-7 in teams.
Why has he played so many matches? Was that 30? What was his own?
Let's see. That's 19 matches.
Oh my God! Why has he played so many damn matches? Josh Makuga, at the end of the year, if he loses his match, you better give him the mother trucking Yodi award. You better. Y'all better.
So Makuga's accuracy in singles is 57.82%.
Good four scheme per first round.
His accuracy in teams is 51.22%.
Little four scheme. That's 5-4-5.
Now Dewberry is 51.72% in singles.
Oh, how
pretty close.
64.66 in teams.
Wow.
Oh, geez.
But you got to remember, when you go to teams, that second round and the third round last question factor into those points. So we don't know how Dewberry does. So you got to look at the singles stats when it comes to this, because when it comes down to it, he doesn't have anyone to confer with. He has just himself.
And they're neck and neck.
Well, 51.7. Let me scroll back up to it.
Matt, I know what you're trying to say.
Oh no, 51.72% or 57.82%. And so you have 57. There's a 6% points difference.
When's the last time Josh Makuga has played in a regular season Schmodown match?
Oh God.
Regular season
were we even watching at that point?
Yeah, it was last year. I know for a fact it was last year.
Was he on History Channel at that point? That's the question.
Because remember, History Channel started late November last year, a year ago, basically. So
my man went away for a long time.
He probably played last summer. Last summer was probably the last time he played.
Okay, hypothetically, last summer.
Last time he played singles, I should say.
Last time he played, period. Grant, I'm not counting the rom-com exhibition on Patreon. I'm not. Because that's just rom-coms. Granted, he could get rom-coms, a rom-com question or rom-com category in the second round. That's great. But there's still a lot of other questions, a lot of other categories that I have more faith in Elliot answering. If you're giving me gun to my head, if I have to pick a man to answer a question, first round question, I'm picking Elliot.
I'm picking Josh Makuga.
And that's awesome. But like I have to go with Elliot. I just feel like his play in Schmodown has been better. A lot of that stuff with Josh was really early Schmodown, and we have to also keep that into consideration as well.
Yes, that last singles match for Makuga was Polyama last year when he suspended for 3 months after. Thank you, Leo Logan.
Yeah, he's hot.
Thank you, Leo Logan. Yo, why did I forget that? Was he? I remember.
You want to know why you forget it? Because 2020 feels like it's been 3 years.
Yo, that was insane. I remember that, bro.
Flossed it in a match with against the Founding Fathers. Oh God.
Oh my God. But no, I mean, I want to pick Josh because I mean his guessing ability is bar none. Stacey Howard is the only one that challenges that in regards to guesses. But in regards to, I mean, plus we got to see Elliot play this year. Granted, it was once, but still, I think the rust, and we've seen that rust can matter little to nothing. But with Makuga, like you said, man, I think he's gonna retire either way, and I'm gonna come on the show next week crying the whole time. So I have Elliott. I want to pick Josh really bad, but my heart tells me to go with Elliott.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's gonna be a toughie to watch though. It's gonna be a hard watch for fans. This could get really emotional. For classic schmoes, no fans.
Here's the question: Do you have a game this Friday?
I do.
I hope if it gets canceled, we will go live after this match.
I mean, I can do something after the match, but because I'm not gonna be able to watch it until I get back, and I'm not gonna be too far.
You weren't for once.
I know, right? Last week I was an hour and a half from where I'm at now, in Enid, Oklahoma. But now I'll be 20 minutes away, so hopefully I'll be able to watch the match by like 9:30. Hopefully. I will be a little late to the party. If I had to miss Jenna Kemp and Video Drew, I will happily watch it afterwards.
You want that link?
Oh no, I got it.
Oh yeah, you're a patron.
But now. Yes, full-blooded patron now. Full cold-blooded. I've been watching too much Chappelle Show. I'm getting off track. I have Elliott Dewberry. I want to pick Josh McCouga, but Elliott. It's gonna suck, but I will. I'll figure it out when the time comes. This could surprisingly get emotional if this is Josh McCouga's swan song in the Schmodown. Because I mean, as I was stating, like classic Schmoes No fans, going back to the old Schmoes No movie show. This when this all started, like McCouga was like the stud. He was the takeaway, or one of the takeaways from the original iteration of the tournament.
Yep.
And now that yes, Sam's retirement was rough. McWeeney's retirement was rough. But
this will probably rival Riley when he retired after Shire Wolves, because that one was that's why we got the Yodi Award. That one was tough. We didn't get him back till a year or so later. He stayed retired for a while. And
the Schmodown, obviously, they can bring him back to compete later. But if this is truly his last match, this could suck.
Well, who knows? We may have Josh on Jeopardy now. Unfortunately, rip Alex Trebek. But he made that push. Yeah. He's been on that stage. He had. Unfortunately, he now had. It's one of those things you feel bad for saying. He's in a position now to where he's put his name out there, and he could definitely be in consideration for that position.
I mean, and that's the case for a lot of these competitors, right? They're all actors. A lot of them are actors. And
content creators or directors. Yeah. Which shout out to RB3 on getting his producing job. We're going to miss you on SCN and all that.
Hell yeah, brother. And that's low-key something I think about all the time. I'm like, a lot of these people are actors. Like, and if they get a show, like we're not going to see them for a while.
Like I remember Andrew Guys being suspended a few years back after tackling Roca was created because he got onto a shoot of some sort and was going to be gone for a few months.
Mm-hmm.
So
it happens. We have to get used to. It can happen to Kalinowski. It can happen to Shannon Barney. It can happen to Roca. It can happen to anybody.
Winston, Roxy. They're like
Winston was on Superstore. Holy shit.
Yeah, Winston on Superstore is hilarious. That's my favorite. This was my favorite restaurant. And I was just like, he's that guy. Okay. But no.
Yeah, they made him be the worst. But either way, this could suck. This could be really, really, really sad. And I'm not looking forward to the potential sadness I'm going to have on Friday night before I fly out back to COVID's Chicken, Indiana on Saturday. Now, I told you guys I got COVID tested. Not because I feel bad.
Because you're on the airport and all that.
Yes, I'm going to a wedding, which may or may not be the best idea this weekend. So please don't judge me. I know it's a bad idea.
I thought you weren't going back to Indiana until Thanksgiving.
No, that's I know we're not talking about Toronto anymore. I'm sorry, but I'm going this weekend because I may not be going for Thanksgiving. That's why.
Oh, okay.
So I may be here. I may be in Oklahoma doing another stream of a scary movie while the holidays in session.
Krampus, there you go.
Double clear. I'll figure it out. So either way, but before we wrap the show, I if you don't mind, I have another thing to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
I started off the show addressing Matt and I's
Squirrel last week. Squirrel.
Yeah, last week. But I do want to say it is Veterans Day. For like all the people fighting overseas and fighting they're fighting all the people that didn't make it.
We got to give our respect to the veterans in the Schmodown, like John Roca.
1,000%. Roca, Jason Inman.
Inman.
Even though he may not be a competitor as active as he used to be, but either way, nonetheless. And I know there are people in the Schmodown reaction community that I saw that are also veterans in their own right. So on all of our behalf of Spin from the Real and Who Are They Real Entertainment, thank you to all of our vets. Without y'all, what are we doing? So thank y'all for all the work, and to all the people that we lost. We may not know you, but we thank you anyway.
But on that note, we're watching another episode of Spin from the Real. Catch us every Wednesday for now. And and be sure to check out Really Trivia Showdown this Friday. I got my match, Matt the Master Thomas, against the challenger for my championship, Mike the Wizard Went. So yeah, be sure to check that. So signing off, I'm Matt.
I am the personality, Chris Anthony Lopez.
And I'm Nick. Thanks for having me.
And this was another Who Entertainment production. See you next week. Remember, spin from the real, not the peg.
Damn right.